My name is Rachel Miller. I'm from the Onondaga Nation.
I'm Meagan Wilson. I'm Turtle Clan, Mohawk Nation, from Six Nations of the Grand River.
This history has impacted me, residential school and stuff, and the intergenerational trauma for myself. I've worked through a lot of stuff too, seeing that intergenerational effects going through my parents and then to me and my siblings. My grandfather also went to residential school, and so did my great grandma on my dad's side. So I've seen the impact from both sides of my family and how that's played out on my parents, and as well as my cousins and my siblings and stuff.
My great grandmother went to residential schools. I also grew up here in Six Nations, where many people did go to residential schools. I currently work with Indigenous youth who have many family members that went to residential schools and are experiencing intergenerational trauma. So I have an older brother, and he played rugby for his high school team. So I got to watch him play for 2 years. I went to the same high school, and their rugby program is very, very large and present. And I tried it out, and it was something that really clicked for me. I never had a sport that clicked for me the way that rugby did. I didn't play sports really growing up, and rugby was something that I was able to just pick up, and I fell in love with it right away. What really drew me to the sport, though, was the teamwork. There's 15 people on the team at the same time, but what I still really love about rugby is it's one of the only sports that's the exact same between the men's and the women's sides. There's no difference, and I think that that's the coolest thing. The rugby community is very, very open and accepting, and it's something that I'll love forever. So
for me, what drew me to rugby and how that started out was it was just a simple social media post that my auntie seen online. And so when my cousin came out to try rugby with Iroquois Roots Rugby, and I really loved that it gave me space to be myself and feel included. Because for me, sports growing up, it was never like that. You were always if you, no matter how well or bad you played, I just never felt super inclusive. Whereas rugby, that gave me space to do that. And it still does give me a space to be able to do that. And so now I volunteer with Iroquois Roots Rugby with the kids, the mini program, and I'm starting to help out with the junior girls now.
Iroquois Roots Rugby is a free Indigenous women-led rugby program. We promote the sport to Indigenous youth across the province. More specifically, in our home community of Six Nations, we have programs for all ages, boys and girls, as well as senior men's and women's. We also are able to connect sport and our Indigenous culture together. So we provide cultural activities as well as cultural events and teachings. As well as our program that we run through the summer in Six Nations, we do a community and school outreach program. So we will attend classes here in Six Nations as well as other communities across the province to promote the sport of rugby to Indigenous youth.
Iroquois Roots Rugby is also a place that breaks down a lot of barriers for Indigenous youth, because a lot of families might not be able to afford sports like lacrosse because it's quite expensive, and Iroquois Roots Rugby allows families to come and play without having to worry about the cost of sports and breaking down those barriers. So it's super inclusive, it builds resilience.
Iroquois Roots Rugby was founded in 2017. It was founded here in Six Nations by myself and my mom. And we started the program because we saw all of the opportunities that rugby was providing to myself, again, through travel, education, friendships, all of those great things. And we wanted to allow Indigenous youth here to be provided those opportunities. We have traveled to New Brunswick to do rugby camps in New Brunswick with Indigenous youth on a reserve. We traveled to New Zealand to speak in the Women in Sport World Conference, where we were able to meet many Indigenous people across the world. We competed in a tournament in the States, where we were able to do a cultural exchange with a U16 girls program based in New York, which was pretty cool as well. So we currently have 97 youth participating in our program. We currently have 9 teams and that's from U6 to adult. We host a minis tournament, and that is here on Six Nations, and that is for our U6 to U12 teams. And then we host a junior girls tournament, and they play local communities like Hamilton, Niagara, Norfolk.
Coming this November, we'll be taking the junior girls to a tournament in New York City, which is very exciting for us. A lot of youth can become involved in our programming through our social media pages and word of mouth. I've reached out to my nieces and nephews who've all started to come joining the minis program.
When we were able to do our cultural exchange with Play Rugby USA, we also were able to bring in rugby culture. In our cultural exchange, it was really great to see the girls coming together and making friends and just being kids. I think that's something that we all get away from a lot, and it's not something that's appreciated enough. But it was really great to just see our girls being the young girls that they are. It was pretty cool to see too. They were also just talking a lot about like, what's it like where you live and what's it like where I live, and they were able to share those experiences together, and they found a lot of they were really fascinated in those conversations, and that's an opportunity that could have likely never happened for a lot of those girls without sport. So I think reconciliation means recognizing where we came from and being able to build on that as opposed to letting it break us down. Again, no matter where we come from or who we are, respecting the fact that history has happened and we're moving on from it.
To me, reconciliation means being able to come together with other groups of people, no matter where they come from, being able to talk about our culture, exchanging culture, getting along.
I think where we start for reconciliation in sport is recognizing all of the work that the grassroots programs are doing and how beneficial they are for sport. I think when we focus on our high performance programs, people get burnt out. I personally have been there, and sport should never feel like a chore for anybody. It should be something that people want to do and want to be a part of. And for reconciliation to happen through sport, I think we need to promote and uplift our grassroots programs that are allowing our youth to play, because the youth are our foundation for the rest of our sports programming.
Well, addressing reconciliation sport, that can look like just the people running the organizations being culturally aware of Indigenous history in Canada for Indigenous children so that they can better understand where they're coming from and their struggles, and supporting Indigenous-led programming. I think a message that I have for youth is to really go out there and try new things, to be yourself, make new friends, just to think about where I started from sport and how this programming has really allowed me to be able to be myself and do those things. So talking from experience, I think it's really important that you go out there and try new things.